All right, as I'm here to talk about Mike Mentzer heavy duty training. Now, I've seen to have stumbled upon a lot of videos lately, a lot of, Instagram pages, social media pages that are kind of amping this dude up. And, there's the big Arnold controversy with the Olympia in 1980. Mike Mentzer actually won, and Mike Mentzer got a perfect score and Mr. Olympia, and he's the only person to ever do that. And that's all great. I mean, he had a fucking amazing physique. He's a great bodybuilder. But he was also smoking some meth. And that's a fact. He was smoking meth. And I think a lot of his training ideas are awesome as far as like intensity, high intensity, low frequency. Damn it. That's something that I've kind of implemented as, kind of, I guess, just intuitively, kind of like high intensity and lower frequency, like especially after doing like 1 rep maxes only for so long. And then like later on kind of like getting into, okay, well, I want to match that intensity, but I don't necessarily want to do a 1 rep max bicep curl. I mean, I've done that before, but, take 1 set of bicep curls on a cable and do mechanical drop sets and, mechanically change the angle and just go until you feel there and then mechanically change the angle again and then drop set. That's heavy duty training. So let me back up to heavy duty training, which is Mike Mentzer's whole philosophy on training, which was training like, I believe, 1 to 2 top sets to absolute failure, and achieving failure through doing like drop sets, mechanical drop sets, partials, the whole 9 yards. Anything you can do to force the most out of that one top set, where you're not even fucking counting your reps. Basically, you're just kind of doing, you're kind of just going until it fucking is so painful that you can't anymore. And it's heavy duty is hardcore. That's like the pinnacle of hardcore training, right? Which I love. I love that style. Dorian Yates used this similar style if you watch Blood and Guts. It seems like Branch Warren pretty much used like a similar style of that. And obviously these guys are all Reuters, obviously. They're Olympia competitors, and there's nothing against that. But as a natural, you can still apply. Like, a lot of people will say shit like, they're training like Reuters. That's not the problem. The problem isn't the intense training for naturals. Intensity is what naturals need. When people say you're training like a Reuter, that's like, in my opinion, more volume with a lot less intensity, where you're not really pushing much of anything and you're kind of just chasing a pump. That's where training like a Reuter is going to affect a natural. Like, you're not going to get much muscle growth. You might get a little pump, but you're not going to get much muscle growth, in my experience, in my personal opinion, doing that. So, back to Mike Mentzer. I think that he's got a great training philosophy, especially for anyone who's been training over a couple of years and is already pretty advanced. And I don't mean like half-ass training for a couple of years. I mean like seriously training. Like, you got a nice foundation of strength, you got decently sized muscles, you're pretty intermediate in your muscle growth, and you're pretty advanced in your lifting career. And why that's important is to know where you're at as far as intensity. Because a lot of beginners, like if you're a beginner, you don't necessarily know how to push yourself unless you've played other sports, unless you've pushed yourself in other avenues of life to those levels. And most of the time you can't really get that way unless you've done sports before, or you just have a big drive. Like for me, with skateboarding, I had a massive drive for skating, and I pushed myself every single day there. So when I went to lifting, I learned, like, okay, this is I know how to push myself from here, because I know how to push myself with skating, so I can kind of transfer that philosophy and be kind of similar. I think a lot of people who start lifting and they never had that before, those avenues of where they're pushing themselves, I think that it's a lot harder for them to achieve failure or know what max intensity feels like, or RPE, all these things that get thrown around, reps in reserve, like all this shit that gets thrown around. You have to really learn that and earn that as a lifter, because it's hard for a beginner to gauge their RPE if they don't know what the fucking RPE 10 is. So RPE 10 and high intensity, heavy duty training, Mike Mentzer, all this kind of stuff. Great, fantastic philosophy. Mike Mentzer he's a bit of a weird figure right now in like this weird internet fucking bodybuilding lifter space. He's a weird figure, like martyr type of dude. But I think that overall his philosophy was great. His physique was awesome. And his training ideas will work for any natural or roider, but you have to know how to apply the intensity. And if you don't have a baseline of intensity or how your body feels and RPE and all that kind of bull crap, for lack of a better word, then it's not going to work for you. But I'd encourage you to give it a shot. Like I said, I've kind of implemented this myself, just intuitively, with the high intensity, just like one set all out, with specifically things like bicep curls, lateral raises, like smaller muscle groups. I've never really done it with squats. I would never do it with deadlifts. And then bench, I haven't really done it with bench either. Can't say that I have, but with smaller muscle groups, in my experience, it works fucking great. And you know me, like all rep ranges and all levels of intensity and volume are important to me. So I think that everyone should probably give it a shot if they're interested and if they know how to handle it.